Okay, YouTube, welcome back to Peterson Auto. Today we're doing some wonderful sensors on an '08 Ford Taurus. This here is a transmission input or output sensor. I forget which one this is. I think it's the output by the location. So we're doing that, and we're going to do this one too. This is an input sensor. Either way, how this came down is both these sensors are known to go. They're known to have issues. I got a code P0715, and long story short, it says that your transmission has no idea what's going on because one of these sensors is not working. So got into it here, and I did notice that I can't get the one external sensor out without pulling the pan anyway. And since they're both known to go, no point in testing them. Well, enough to confirm that's the issue, but in the case of someone just doing it, no point in testing the sensors, just replace them both. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. If you're in there, I'd say replace it. So we are doing a removal of the transmission pan right now to get access to both these sensors, and we'll go underneath in a minute and show you what's going on. But as you can see, the air box is out of the way, which is sitting right here. It's got those fancy little nubs on the bottom. Those little nubs go down into those two rubber inserts. That's what holds the air box in. There's also two bolts right up there. The little one right here you don't need to remove. I was trying to pull this whole assembly out, maybe make it easier because this was hanging up a bit. But that being said, there's a little one here you don't need to remove. These two here come out, and then this whole air box just lifts out. You have your clamps on either side. You have your standard Ford PCV valve connection there, and pulled it off the throttle body, and there we go. So that being said, the other thing that sucks is the dipstick mounts down in here. Dipstick mounts down in here. There's a stud with a nut on it. That's set up there. There's a nut that holds the pan, and then there's another nut on top that holds the dipstick. So the dipstick's held on there, comes up here and has a clip on both these hoses. If I can remember where I set that, there we go. So there's your dipstick assembly. You can see the two clips that go on the hoses, and right down there's where the stud goes through. That O-ring sucked to pull out. I had to actually pry both hoses to the side and yank, wiggle, and move a lot to get that out. That's pretty dirty. Yeah, that's pretty dirty. The fluid in this is red. I mean, like blood red. It actually stained my hands a little bit for a while. So this thing's only got 80,000 on it. Yeah, change your fluid often in these things. Very often, like 30,000 miles often. And that is what I'm doing the most part of today. I got 5 quarts of fluid. So if it doesn't all drain out, I'll drive it, drain it, put more in. And hopefully get a full fluid change out of that. They are almost a full change. So it looks like now we're going to go underneath and show you the rest of this. But before we do, we got bolts here. One down there. One here. The stud. And pull that out of the way. There you go. You can kind of see some of the other bolts on that side. We'll cover those when we get down there. Also, to get to here, I had to remove the transmission wiring harness, which is right here, but there is a little detent right there. Needs pushed down. I just got in there with a screwdriver, flathead, and pushed it down. Be careful not to go through the connector into the wiring behind it. And then this clip slides around. So a little bit tricky on that. It's the mass airflow. Pull out the little red detent, and that'll come right off. That is, right here in the air filter lid. So mass airflow is right there. All right. Now you know what I did up top. Let's get down underneath and show you where we're at underneath. Okay, YouTube, we're underneath the car. bear with me. I'm not sure how well this is going to turn out or not. So I really don't think I have the narrow angle lens for this. But you see there's more bolts here. As I think these are AC lines. I haven't actually looked too closely at them, but you got to remove a nut from either end of the top and bottom. Get you a better angle. There you go. Top and bottom, remove the nut, and the bracket will come out of the way. Remove the other two nuts. So a couple, bunch of 10 millimeters and a few 13 millimeters. The studs are 13 millimeters with a 10 millimeter nut on them. More bolts there. When you get up around this side, yeah, you can start to see some of the bolts there. There's the bottom one for reference. If you can see, because of good bad lighting. There's a couple up the side. The fourth one up's the stud that had a wiring harness on it. You just pull the wiring harness off. You'll be good there. And then you get the rest of the bolts out and you drop the pan down and pull the valve body. So that's the next step here. We're going to get that done and pull the valve body and try to get these sensors replaced. Well, YouTube, have you ever heard of Murphy's Law? I hate this Murphy. He makes some really stupid laws. So here's where I'm at. See that fancy valve body up there? Yeah, a little dark. You probably can't see it. So, nowhere on the good old internet that I can find within a half-hour browsing are the torque specs or the tightening pattern for that. Which means I'm stuck replacing just this sensor. There we go. Now, the sensor is out. Ford. Why would Ford do this? So you can see the hole up there. Maybe now a little better. There's one 10 millimeter bolt holding this sensor on. That one 10 millimeter bolt is all it takes to get the sensor loose. However, it plugs in way up. Right there. Right there. Take a screwdriver, push in on the back side of the clip to release the clip to allow it to come out. That wasn't hard. Then I got it down here. And Ford puts this stupid wire loom on here, right? Stupid wire loom. And the wire loom binds up on all the sharp edges of the transmission as you're taking this out. Okay, what else we got here? Oh, there's a hole in there. I've linked some pictures for you. Okay, so now that I should have inserted the pictures at that point in the video, you can now see how the connector barely fits in the hole. So not only do they put all this extra wire, all this wire on here, all this wire just barely runs up to said connector. Wherever that's at, right here. Okay? So you still have to pull the pan to unplug the connector to change the sensor. Can you tell I'm frustrated, YouTube? Can you? Either way, so here's what's going on. We have the connector unplugged. We tied this fancy brand new piece of blue wire to it. As you can see, it has to go in this particular orientation. If you don't use that orientation, too bad, it ain't happening. Because again, they only give you so much room to get this through. So you only have so much room to get this through. So I tied the wire around it, realized that this was maybe a little on the long side, cut it down. Then I realized that it has to go up through the center of the connector to come out to fish it through. Okay, so that's running up through the hole, through the transmission over to here. Okay? Proof. Now you go ahead, tie the new one on and snake it back through. While we're at it, that drain plug right there, which is right below there, a little more zoomed out for you. That drain plug will actually drain your transmission. Do your drain and fill. It's stupid easy. So, you know, drain and fill, drain and fill. 30,000 on these things because they suck. They have the filter inside. To change the filter, you have to split the case in half. This is a GM joint venture transmission. Figures. So we're going to go ahead and get this snake back and put back together and get you a video of that. Alright, YouTube. It's a couple days later. We have the sensor in. Got some test miles on it to get the transmission to reset and relearn its way of shifting. Everything seems to be fine. Sorry about the wind today. It's pretty bad. But so a couple pointers for you. One, that was the transmission speed sensor is what it was called. I did only do one, as the video will wind up showing you there after watching it. The one behind the valve body I could not find the torque specs on, so I could not pull the valve body, so that did not get done. I got lucky, and it was the externally mounted one that was, I'm not going to call it easy access, but the easier access there. So, that being said, got it in, put about a half hour driving on it, same day just to make sure, and that's performing well. I went ahead and I put more fluid in it, topped off the fluid, got it, made sure everything's 100% there, and it wound up taking approximately 4 quarts of fluid, if I recall correctly there. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, or comment and let me know what you think.